Spyn, and today I kind of want to talk to you about, well, my greatest failures, you know? But more importantly, I want to talk to you about how my failures help me to succeed. Does that make sense? Well, it's going to. Just watch the video. Okay, let's do it. Let's go into the video. So some of you may or may not know this about me, but this isn't my first channel on YouTube. It's far from the first. I've done a number of different things, and all of them have failed, except for this one. So let's kind of talk about that, I guess. I used to do Let's Plays, and those didn't really get a whole lot of attention. No one seemed to really like them, and the reason for that was pretty obvious. It was already a saturated market. There was plenty of people already doing exactly the same things I was doing, but much more entertaining, so why would you watch me over any of them? I just didn't have a good presence on camera. I didn't really hook in my audience, and that was a problem, right? More importantly, a lot of the stuff I was doing was very unoriginal, so I didn't have anything different to offer anyone. So after the Let's Plays, I tried motovlogging, and I guess I had a little bit more success for that. Some people liked it, some people didn't. It never really got very big, not even remotely. So, you know, that one didn't work out really well either, but that one was mainly because, again, the market was really saturated with motovloggers, and I wasn't doing anything different. And I was really kind of, just kind of following the form. Now, as a byproduct of these failures, the multiple Let's Play channels and the multiple motovlogging attempts I made, I have to say that I learned a whole lot about editing tools. And I also learned a whole lot about originality and, looking at what people are watching and why they're watching it, and, you know, being determined to give them something, well, different and interesting. I believe I have taken down all of my stuff, because those videos are amazingly cringy. I would sit in front of a video game or something, and I wouldn't really even talk because I'd be so absorbed in the game that I'd forget to, mention facts about the game or talk about it in any real regard or make jokes or anything like that, because I was by myself. I didn't really have that back and forth that I need to make those jokes. I need to be around people in order to make jokes back and forth. Just how that works for me. Or I need to write it out and make it scripted so that it works. But the biggest takeaway, again, from these two things that I failed at there, was that I learned how to work my editing tools a lot better, and I got to play around with them a lot more, so it gave me a good sense for those. And it also helped me realize that just doing the same thing over and over again that everyone else is doing isn't going to work. It's not going to be viable, and no one's going to want to watch it. So the next thing that I failed at that helped me immensely was college. Some of you know, some of you don't, that I did go to college, and I did in fact graduate. But it took me just spectacularly long. Mainly because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I kept switching majors. Also, I didn't really take it very seriously, just sort of taking it for granted that I would pass, because I'd always been relatively smart, so I didn't really think that I needed to study or really put in much more effort than I did in high school. This was a horrific mistake. So it ended up taking me, I think, for a four-year degree, it ended up taking me probably 6-7 years being in college, like almost double. It might have been double, now that I think about it. And it's all because I just sat there and played around, and I didn't have any focus. And I also had a tendency to blame circumstances that were entirely my fault on other things, other events. I would just shirk the blame off onto something else, and that wasn't a good thing at all. Like, that didn't really help me. And, I mean, most of us have this problem. I mean, whether it's in school, in work, your family lives, anything that you strive to be good at, we have a tendency, people do in general, have a tendency to blame their problems on someone or something else. It's, we just transfer that blame because it makes us feel better. But it doesn't help us. It doesn't make us better people, and it doesn't, advance our goals. Not at all. The biggest thing that I learned from these failures was to, one, be persistent about things that you want. Don't give up on them. I had a tendency to do that as well, as just giving up on things that I felt were too hard, which is probably why I changed majors so much. But, persistence is absolutely key to success. Just continue to do it over and over again and get better at it. Also, stop blaming other people for your mistakes. If you made a mistake, own that mistake, learn from that mistake, and move forward. Blaming everyone else keeps you right where you are, or worse, it moves you back. So you don't want that. Doing what I did in college is probably one of the things I am the most ashamed of. Because all of my friends graduated exactly when they were supposed to, and I was just stuck there trying to muddle through, and I didn't know why. And when I finally figured it out, I felt kind of dumb that I had been blaming everyone else, and I had not been persistent, and it was bad. But I learned from those things, and it made me better, not only in school, but in other places as well, because I got to take that mentality, and I got to move that mentality to other things in my life, which sort of brings me to, the wrap-up of all of this. So, how did I take all of this and not only apply it to my life, but apply it specifically down to this channel? Well, I mean, from the Let's Plays and things like that, that's kind of obvious. I was able to understand quickly how to use editing programs because I'd used them before. I'd used them a lot, and I didn't use them ever at a really high level, but I knew the basics, so I already had a head start there. And I also understood that being the exact same as everyone else, every other furry YouTuber, was not the way to go, because it's just not going to draw an audience in. So that's another thing that I learned from failing horribly in life. So I used those two things to be able to start to construct the channel past its launch, trying to figure out what I was going to do with it, and how I was going to build it up to not only be something I was interested in, but also something that would interest other people around me. So I took all of those things, and then I combined them with the things I'd learned in college, along with the failures that I'd had in college. So I knew that it was going to be a hard road, but if I was persistent with it, and I kept on track every day that I could, that everything would start moving forward. Slowly but surely, it would start moving forward. So I just decided to be persistent with it, to not worry about numbers, and to push forward with that. I also learned to accept my failures as my failures, and not, blame it on my equipment, or maybe just people just don't understand what I'm trying to say. Maybe I need to say it better. So I would constantly rewatch my videos and think, how can I do this better? How can I like explain this better? And also, as I said before, I did graduate college. I graduated with a degree in sociology and criminology. So what I decided to do with that was I tried to, with most of these videos, I tried to look at a sociological concept and take that and apply it to the furry fandom. And I tried to explain different bits of drama or different cultural shifts, paradigm shifts, and I take these things and I look at them through a sociological lens, and then I try to give you guys like this macro explanation. And this gives you guys a better perspective of what's going on in the group as a whole. Hopefully this gives you that perspective, because that's what I'm trying to convey. But all of these failures that I had, I took them and I used them as tools to help me grow the channel, to help me really be more successful. So, in essence, like, my greatest failures that I've had in my life have been my greatest teaching tools. Those are the things that have made me better as, well, a content creator, as everything. Well, anyway, guys, that's this week's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something from it, especially if you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share, hit the bell, whatever it is that you guys do best, do that. Remember, I also have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. God, this is getting exhaustive with the lists of things that I've added. You know what? You guys just do whatever you guys feel comfortable doing, and that'll be fine, because I don't expect much. I don't expect much else out of anyone. Just do what you like to do. It's fine. And as always, I have some words to leave you with. Always remember that the master has failed more than the apprentice has ever tried. Bye!